hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most controversial subjects, the most intense debates, the most engaged subjects going on in the world today. And tonight is no different. A lot has happened this past weekend that we have to talk about, particularly on the media landscape. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm going to cover 50 topics tonight. We're going to cover just a couple. We're going to cover them well. We're going to cover them with depth because it's absolutely necessary. So shout out to everybody who's here and joining us. I wish I could have gone live on Saturday, Sunday. I was traveling. As y'all know, Black History Month is its own thing, and I was on the road, also handling some other stuff. We were out in Friday. Where were we Friday? Friday, I was at, actually Friday had the blessing of hosting, emceeing the 60th commemoration of Malcolm X's tragic assassination at the Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz Educational Center, what was formerly the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem, where Malcolm X was assassinated. It was an extraordinary evening. So much love, so much power, so much, just Black beauty in the room. We gave awards. The Vanguard Award. We gave calls to action. We celebrated. We partied. We smiled. We laughed. We cried. I cried a ton, man. I don't usually cry at these places, man, but there was something about that evening that was just different. Saturday, I was down in what was I Saturday? Well, Saturday I was speaking at the CARE Philadelphia event. Me and Ahmad Zahar, the comedian and the lawyer and the activist, we had the opportunity to sit down in a conversation with Medina Wilson Anton, the state rep from Delaware, where we talked about all kinds of issues related to CARE and its mission to protect and defend the rights of Muslims, but also we talked about Gaza. We talked about all the things. A little bit of protest outside, but it was a small thing to a giant. You know what I'm saying? What else did we do? And then Sunday I was in DC, where we acknowledged and did a book signing for the newest anthology that I've co-edited, I should say, along with two of the most extraordinary brothers in the world. This book is called For Gaza's Children, Black, Brown, and Jewish Writers and Poets Speak Out. It's edited by me and the luminaries, Hakeem Adabudi and Keith Gilliard. So honored, so lucky to be a part of this project. Make sure you check that out. Go to Third World Books or wherever else you get your books and check it out. Grab it. It's a wonderful collection. Robin Kelly contributed to it. Alice Walker, Rabbi Alyssa Wise, Talib Kweli, Hakeem Adabudi, Malefia Sante. We could go on down the list of extraordinary people. So please make sure when you get the moment and you have the time that you check out the book. But we did a signing at Howard University. It's always good to be at Howard. Greg Carr, again, another luminary, moderated a conversation between me, Hakeem, and Keith, and some of the contributors to the volume, including Tony Medina, came out and spoke. It was an absolute joy, honestly, to be a part of that conversation. So just shout out to them, and shout out to everybody who showed love. And today, I drove back down to do a book talk and book signing back up, I should say, from DC to Philly for a book signing and conversation with Mohammed El Kurd. Unfortunately, he's under the weather. I think he had the flu, and so we had to cancel that event at the last minute. But we'll be doing that in a couple of weeks. And now I'm back up in New York. So this has been day after day after day, run. But it's been a blessing, y'all. But now we're here, and we got stuff to talk about. Maybe the biggest story of the week, certainly for us media folk, the biggest story of the week, of the last 24 hours, has been Joy and Reid. If you don't know, yesterday, Joy Ann Reid was pushed out of her 7 p.m. slot where she has hosted the Readout for 4 years. It was a shock to some people. I had heard that there'd be shakeups, but I didn't know who. You know, there's always going to be shakeups. We're going to break down all of it right now. We're going to get into all the levels of what happened with Joy-Ann Reid at MSNBC, because it is important to know this story. But before we get into the depths of it, let's give you the latest. Joy-Ann Reid is in good spirits tonight as she hosted her final show on MSNBC. Now, lots of people who don't get a chance to watch every night made sure they watch tonight, and people who do watch every night, and she had lots of people who watch every night. She made sure that or they made sure, I should say, that they watched tonight, because it was one for the record books. It was one for the ages. You absolutely have to make sure that you watch it. Here's Joy giving the final word on her Instagram, her pre-show message.
So you know I had to wear my merch. I've got all my merch on, because I even have a shoe. Hold on, let me show you a shoe. I hope you guys can see it, because you know we have the best merch, because you know I'm really good at that. So we're gonna actually have a fabulous show tonight, y'all. We have so many great surprise guests, people that you love, people that you enjoy watching on the Readout all the time. They're gonna be here. And look, let me one more time just show you the squad that we brought with us. Listen! So y'all didn't think we had a studio audience, but you know what? We kind of have a studio audience, at least tonight. I hope you guys are tuned in. I hope you guys are turned up. If you're with Win With Black Women, I just want to shout you out, because I know you guys are here squatted up. And we just want to shout out everybody who has sent me text messages. Yes, I have 873 text messages in my phone. I'm going to send them. I promise you I'm going to text you back. If you have not been texted back, don't put it on my heart. I've literally been flooded. But hopefully you guys are going to check it out. As I said, tonight we're going to have a joyful show. We're going to have an informative show. Thank you, Claire. That was Claire. Claire hooked me up. You know, that's what she does to make sure that y'all can hear me. So now that I am ready to be heard actually on air, I hope you guys are ready, because look, we are not going to be talking about doom and gloom. We're going to be talking about what you can do and what you should be doing right now to prepare yourself to deal with this world that we find ourselves living in this country. So we've got advice for you guys. We got tips for you guys. We got your favorite guests. We got your favorite hosts from MSNBC coming in. You could probably guess who I mean, but it's going to be some of your favorites and my favorites too. We also got some folks in here. Oh, hold on a second. We got actual heroes here. Okay, he don't have his cape on, but is Harry Dunn? Where Harry Dunn at? Was Harry Dunn? Where you at? Harry Dunn? Oh, there you go. How could I not see the tallest person in the room? Okay, right. Harry Dunn. Okay, all right, y'all. That's Captain America. That's Captain America. Don't nobody tell you any differently. I got you. Okay, so my executive producer is talking to my ear, because she has to keep me disciplined, because otherwise I'll be in here cutting up. But we have got. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Where's Tiffany Cross? Tiffany Cross. She is in the house. Everybody, y'all know Jason. Y'all never really see Jason in motion, so y'all got to see Jason. We got all of the friends here. This is actually going to be a great night. I got my squad. Let me see the glam squad. Glam squad. Okay, Janice is too busy taking pictures. Okay, come on. Glam squad is in the house. Okay, we got Durbin. Durbin. Say hi, Durbin.
I really appreciate her.
Durbin is the director, so we got the whole team
on her
here. It's going to be actually
in terms of doing an actual show.
Anybody have any questions, any thoughts? Anybody want to share? Any? I was not soliciting that. I promise you, I was not soliciting that. Okay, guys, I'm going to hang up this phone, because otherwise, the people in the control room are going to get very mad, because I actually have to pretend. But
she had so much joy and buoyancy. I was proud of her. When I saw the news yesterday morning, you know, I don't want to say stunned, because I've been in TV long enough to know that this stuff happens, but I was disappointed. I was sad. She was not at the top of the list of people I thought was vulnerable over there, but I knew people were vulnerable. I was disappointed. Yeah, after a decade. She was on her show for 4 years, but she was on the network for a decade. And now the Readout is getting shut down. And part of it is the way her staff found out. It was just messy. I mean, reports say that the MSNBC bosses held a tense and emotional meeting where staffers were blindsided by the news, learning about their layoffs from the media before their leadership told them. When you find out on the Twitter or TikTok or wherever you find out through Google alerts that you don't got a job, that's always crazy. And I've been through there. I found out that I was no longer at Fox News through the Hollywood Reporter. This is quite normal. And what they announced is that MSNBC is bringing in a new trio to replace Joy Ann Reid at that slot. Simone Sanders Townsend, excuse me, Michael Steele, and Alicia Menendez, who you already know from having a morning weekend morning show. They're now stepping up to take over the 7 p.m. slot. But there's been a big backlash. Many people, Black journalists, Black reporters, Black activists, Black viewers, Black politicians, everybody is saying that this is a tremendous blow. You saw people speak out, everybody from journalists like Elie Mystal, who you know from here and other places, and of course former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. They all called it a huge loss. And then you saw people like Donald Trump and Piers Morgan celebrating her departure, which is disgusting and disturbing, but not at all surprising. So the question becomes the why of it, the how of it. First, let's talk about the timing. This job seemed more than safe 6 months ago or a year ago. MSNBC was not dominating the ratings by any stretch. They've had their own ratings challenges. But, you know, in a presidential election year, you go with your best squad. And on election night, when you see, you know, a room full of women on election night at MSNBC, you got Rachel Maddow there. You also got Joy Ann Reid. Why? Because they're major contributors. They're brilliant, insightful, talented. It makes sense for them to be there. The show made sense. I know, I can tell you, in my sort of media circle, the people loved Rachel Maddow. If you're left leaning and you watch cable news for your insights, Rachel Maddow is your go-to person. There's no doubt about that. But after Rachel Maddow, there's a lot of folk who are looking right to Joy Ann Reid. They're looking right to, you know, Lawrence O'Donnell. They're going down the list, but Joy Ann Reid is right at the top of that list. And so it was somewhat surprising to some that this happened. When my mama says who's on TV, she knows Rachel Maddow and she knows Joy Ann Reid. And a whole lot of folk I know in that demo feel the same way. The younger demo also feels that way. The Black demo absolutely feels that way. This is interesting. But then there was a shakeup at the top of MSNBC. Rashida Jones, not Quincy Jones's daughter, but Rashida Jones, who was the president of MSNBC, she resigned. It is, to some people, a surprise that happened, but the rumblings had been there. The rumblings had been there that Rashida Jones was going to be pushed out of her position. That happens. In comes Rebecca Cutler. Rebecca Cutler, you may know from CNN. She was at one point the head of talent at CNN, or not the head of talent. She was in charge of the contributors at CNN. Then she was elevated when CNN launched its online platform. She was in charge of that. That only lasted a few days. It died out, and Rebecca was kind of out at CNN. But you can't keep people down in this business if they have the right connections and the right people and the right talent. You know, I think Rebecca had the talent. They pulled Rebecca over to MSNBC and they put her in another position. When Rashida stepped down, they decided to elevate Rebecca to president. Now, whenever you change somebody at the top, whenever you hire a new head coach, whenever you hire a new university president, whenever you hire a network exec, something's got to change. They don't bring in a new executive to keep everything the same. Now, if you're Rachel Maddow, you're fine. If you're Joe Scarborough or Morning Joe, you're fine. But if you're not, then you're going to get looked at with scrutiny and they're going to decide what to do. So in comes Rebecca Cutler. And we know now there are going to be shakeups. Now, MSNBC was struggling with some rating stuff. So that gives you the ground to do whatever. If you say, look, we're struggling in the ratings, you now have license to make changes. The question, though, is not, do you make changes? It's what changes do you make and why? If MSNBC is struggling across the board, then you would think that maybe they'll get rid of all the people whose ratings are struggling. Maybe they'll wipe out the whole thing. They didn't do that. Again, Morning Joe's doing fine. Rachel Maddow's doing fine. But aside from that, nobody's doing fine. But only certain people were laid off. Now, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy. I'm not saying that it's some evil, plot. I am saying, though, that there were reasons why some people got chosen and not others. Let's talk about that for a minute. First of all, and again, Rebecca Cutler, I'm not saying Rebecca Cutler is the cause of all of this, but she's at the top. She's the president. She's the face of this. Rebecca Cutler, I've known for over a decade. In fact, when I was fired from CNN after speaking out against Palestine at the United Nations, you know who called me and told me that my services were no longer needed by CNN? Rebecca Cutler. Do with that what you want. Now, I don't necessarily think that Rebecca Cutler was responsible for the CNN decision. I think that was a bigger play, and I think she was the face and the voice of that. And I've never had a bad interaction with Rebecca Cutler, so I don't want to make it seem like she was some evil person. But I will say that at the very least, she goes with the company. But in this case, she is the company. She's the president. Yesterday, they announced that her show was not coming back. They also announced that the person who's going to be standing, who does the other 4 days when Rachel Maddow goes back to 1 day a week after the first 100 days of Trump's presidency, that there'll be shifts there too. So lots of shifts were made, but Joy-Ann Reid was the big one. Who is Joy-Ann Reid to this network? Well, for a lot of people, she is the conscience of the network. What do I mean by that? Joy-Ann Reid is courageous and she is honest. She is one of the few voices on the network who is willing to criticize the party. Yes, she is a Democrat in ways that I'm not. I'm not a Democrat. And she supports the Democratic Party in ways that I don't. And she and I haven't always agreed on voting patterns and such. She's called me to task on my choice, and I've done the same to her. I haven't really called her to task, but I've disagreed with her calling me to task. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't always agree with Joy. I agree with her on the Bernie stuff. We have some disagreements, but at the core, Joy-Ann Reid believes something and she advocates for it. And when she doesn't believe something, she challenges it, even if it isn't the popular decision. This is why I love and respect Joy-Ann Reid so much. And I consider her a friend. I love and respect her and consider her a friend. I want to put that out there. So I don't want anybody later to be like, he just caping for her because that's his friend. It's my friend. But I got friends that have been fired before. I ain't say nothing. If they're my friend, I ain't going. They're my friend. I'm not going to go after them necessarily, but I'm not going to cape for them, as they say. But in this instance, it's easy to defend Joy-Ann Reid because she speaks up. When she had critiques of the Democratic Party, she spoke up. When she had critiques of particular powerful Democratic voices, she spoke up. Again, you don't have to agree with her politics. I don't always agree with her politics. That's not the point here. The point here is, because it's not like MSNBC is replacing her with a hard left. They're not replacing her with Brianna Joy Gray. By the way, if that happened, I think Joy-Ann Reid and a whole lot of other folk would lose their minds. There's no love lost between these various factions politically. But Joy-Ann Reid is a courageous voice. Joy-Ann Reid spoke up for Palestine. That's an important point here. It's something that we shouldn't lose sight of. If you look on MSNBC, at a moment where a genocide was taking place, at a moment where babies were being killed, at a moment where international law was being violated, at a moment where the Democrats were responsible for underwriting, funding, arming, and defending and protecting this genocide, only a few people on MSNBC stood up. Only a few people on MSNBC stood up. One of them was Ayman Mohyeldin. He's Palestinian. Another was Mehdi Hassan. There's Joy-Ann Reid. Mehdi was fired a year ago almost now. Was it a year ago? Certainly 8-9 months at the least. It's been a while. And we asked him this question on office hours. Were you fired because of your position on Palestine? He didn't give a straight answer. It was January 8th. So actually, it's been more than a year. My God, time moves so fast. January 2024. Mehdi technically quit because he didn't want the demotion. He didn't want to be relegated to the sidelines. He said, I'll just leave. They effectively pushed him out. Ayman Mohaldin, today they announced, and forgive me, he is Egyptian, not Palestinian. I keep thinking he's Palestinian because I met him in Palestine. I met him in Jerusalem one day, wild day in Jerusalem. I'll tell you that story another time, but quite fascinating. Anyway, Ayman, who defends Palestine, who speaks out about these issues, they announced today the end of his show. And then there's Joy-Ann Reid, who was let go, or her show was ended. I don't know exactly. I don't want to speak to her specific contract situation because I don't know the answer to that. But I do know the show is gone, and this Palestine thing seems to cut across. You speak out you speak out for Palestine, suddenly it's an unpopular position. Joy-Ann Reid took an unpopular position. That's number one. Number two, or you can reverse it. I don't care, whatever. She was willing to critique the Democratic Party. That's an unpopular position. It's an unpopular position. She's one of the few people that criticize the party internally. Again, they let her go. When you take these unpopular positions, this is what happens. Let's add to this Donald Trump's influence. Donald Trump is running in these networks, bossing folk around. This is not conjecture. I have seen this with my own eyes. I have watched this. I have heard this. I've spoken to people. These networks are not operating like they were 8 years ago. The networks are no longer saying, oh, well, we'll just, we'll be the loyal opposition. We'll critique Donald Trump. We'll hold his feet to the fire. But Donald Trump is like, you going to get down and lay down. And we know that Donald Trump hates Joy-Ann Reid. Now, he doesn't like anybody in the Democratic Party for the most part. But he hates Joy-Ann Reid and goes after her. He's going after her with misogynoir undergirding all of it. He's said things that speak to her race and her gender. And so you got her courageous positions in the Democratic Party, even though I don't agree with her all the time. You have a courageous position on Palestine, which I do agree with, and you have the fact that she's a target. She has a target on her back from Donald Trump. And the new networks, or the new version of these networks, are caving. CNN is caving. You turn on CNN these days, for what I hear, I don't watch it, but from what I see, you turn it on, you can't tell that it's supposed to be fair and balanced. The Republicans are kicking ass. Look at MSNBC, and they're bringing on centrist Democrats, people even to the right of Joy. I mean, look at now it's 7 o'clock. You got Michael Steele. Now, he's as left-wing a Republican as you're going to find, but he's a right-wing Democrat. Somebody said, "What does the NDA for these networks look like?" It depends. I did not have one when I worked. I've worked at 2 of the 3 majors, and I've never had one. I don't know if Joy had one or not. I suspect she didn't. But oftentimes what they do is they offer you a sweet deal to leave. So what they do is say you got 2, and I'm not speaking about Joy, and I do not know Joy-Ann Reid's contract situation at all, not even a drop. But let's just say hypothetically a host had 2 years left and there's some provision where they don't get paid, the show gets canceled, or it's not pay to play. They'll say, we'll give you 2 years to sign this NDA. Or if you got 2 years, they say, well, we'll give you a third to sign this NDA. Or, after a lot of these jobs, like after you leave, you can't sign with a competitor for 6 months or a year or 2 years. Sometimes they'll cut that off, cancel that if you sign the NDA. So sometimes they'll add NDAs to the end to sweeten the pot. But again, I don't know that that's the case with her. I know nothing about Joy-Ann Reid's contract situation. I'm just speaking to your question. This is fascinating. So when I say the real reason that MSNBC canceled her show, it's not the ratings. Stop it. There are people there who have worse ratings. There are people there who have less of a devoted fan base, and they kept their jobs. Why? Because they were willing to kiss the ring. Why? Because they were willing to be silent. Why? Because they were willing to go along to get along. Joy and Reid don't play that. And so, no, Joy and Reid did not get that treatment. Again, Joy and Reid is not fired because her ratings were bad. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. There are always other factors. I don't know what Rebecca Cutler's thinking in terms of what the model is going to be for MSNBC for the remainder of this calendar year. I don't know what she imagines the whole lineup to look like. I know they've started to make announcements about what the lineup is going to look like. But it's interesting to see. They cut Jonathan Capehart. These are all things to think about. Let's talk about a couple other things. They also have a pattern of how they cut Black women off. I mean, where's Tamara Hall? Where's Tiffany Cross? Where's Melissa Harris Perry? One by one, they've pushed Black women out. And what they do is, this is part of their game plan. They don't just let you go. They leak it to the press. They leak to the press that they're letting you go. They leak to the press next that something's wrong with you. Watch that'll be the next thing. First they leak that they're letting you go. Then they'll leak some whispers, some negative information. This is what we saw with Tiffany Cross. This is what we saw with Melissa Harris Perry, to make everybody look crazy, to make everybody look unworthy, to make everybody look like their firing was justified. They play the press in ways that are despicable. They play the press in ways that are absolutely despicable. This is what they do. Now, there are other questions to be raised here. We'll get to them. We'll get to them. Not tonight, but as things unfold, DeBarge, time will reveal. But let's not underestimate the power of Palestine here. Let's not underestimate the power of going against the Democratic Party. Let's not underestimate the power of Trump. Those are the three, to me, reasons, the most prominent reasons that Joy and Reid's show was canceled. And Joy's going to be okay. Joy's going to be fine. She's too talented not to be. People say, breaking news, people with low ratings get canned all the time. She had a show for a decade. She's not entitled. She's not entitled. She didn't have a show for a decade. The show is almost 5 years old. She was a contributor for a long time. And yes, people with low ratings do get canned. And if they can the people with the lowest ratings, that would make sense. But that's not what happened here. That's the point. Joy and Reid is incredibly talented. And I've watched her grow as an anchor. She's incredibly talented from the rip. But now she's grown into this extraordinary primetime news anchor. She'll be able to do what she wants at some point. The question is, what should that look like? Ain't for me to say. She's far more successful than me. She knows the answers. But what I will say is, I would like to see a kind of move away from the major networks. Now, it's easy to say when you're not on a major network. I can be like, Mark just saying it because he ain't got a job. Maybe. Would I still be at CNN if I wasn't fired? Probably. But that doesn't mean I'm wrong. That doesn't mean I'm wrong, though. I'd love to see Black people create our own platforms that are protected and insulated so that people can't just take our jobs away. Brianna Joy Gray spoke up for Palestine. That's right. And she lost her job. Everybody is losing their job for speaking out. It's not always on Palestine. It's about lots of things, right? This isn't a conspiracy to fire everybody for Palestine. Going against the Democratic Party gets you fired. Supporting a third party gets you fired. Going against any of these mainstream powerful orthodoxies can get you pushed out of your job. So if you know that, what do? I think the answer is do for self. Accept your own and be yourself. Let's build our own platforms. Let's build our own networks. And what Roland Martin is doing is extraordinary. I love it. Let's do more of that. What Joe Budden is doing is extraordinary. Let's do more of that. Let's keep building things, creating things so that we can be successful. That, for me, is the answer. That's the answer. What I do here every night with Night School, I'm so proud of. I'm excited. Do I make the money I made it saying? Actually, no, but I don't do that bad. And I'm doing 50 other jobs. But if I were to do just this, yeah, we could kill here. We could kill here. I'm watching other people kill in their platforms because they commit to them, they invest in them, and the people respond. But family, y'all got to move away from these networks too. I'm talking about the viewers, because it's not enough for the talent to leave. If we go create our own platforms, but y'all still say, yeah, I love that Don Lemon has his own thing, but I'm not gonna go watch him. I'm gonna go back and watch CNN and see whoever's new at CNN, or Joanne Reid is doing this such and such, whatever she ends up doing, but I'm not gonna check it out there. Mehdi has a tail, but I'm not gonna peep it there. Mark has Night School, but I'm not gonna. We can't do that. We have to invest in our stuff. We have to support it. We have to invest, and we have to tell the networks that we're voting with our dollars. That means it's not enough to just go support me or Roland or Brianna, Joy or Joyanne or any of these people and watch the network. No, you got to support us and not support them. You have to turn the TV off. You have to turn the radio off. You have to vote with your eyeballs and your feet, so that then they know that they can't just fire our people. They can't just dismiss our own and think we're going to do nothing about it. That's what I'm saying. Black Town Hall said Abby Phillips show on CNN is the new trend. They want more panels arguing. That's exactly what they want. It used to be crossfire style. Now it's panel style. And shout out to Abby Phillips. I like Abby Phillips a lot, actually. I like Abby Phillips a lot. I think she's very talented. She's good people. This isn't about her. It's about the model. It's about the model. So let's support the model that we want. That means turn off the TV and watch and support independent left-wing media, independent Black media, independent woman media, like all of it. Support the right stuff, and then the other stuff will work itself out. And that's that on that. All right, y'all. Another interesting story, and this has been circulating all day. The Republicans are losing their minds. I mean, it's not even confirmed, and Republicans are losing their mind. Anyway, I'll tell you the story. The Philadelphia Eagles might be flying high after a Super Bowl win, but there's one place they won't be landing: the White House. A source close to the team says discussions have already happened, and the verdict is clear, at least from the team perspective, and that is a massive no to an invite from Donald Trump. To be clear, just to be clear, there are reports that no official invite has even been sent out yet. The White House has not invited the Eagles yet, according to my reports and my sources. However, the Eagles are saying an invite from Donald Trump will result in a hell no. Now, the source of the most recent kerfuffle is the U.S. Sun. They shared an article on February 6th, which got updated today, that said the Eagles plan to reject a White House invite because of the pregame discussions. In other words, before the game, which was on the 9th, the Eagles said, if we win, we're not going to the White House. Fuck Donald Trump, basically. And now today, the Philadelphia Inquirer said that a source close to the team said they would accept an invite this year. Now, this is interesting because as soon as the story leaked that the Eagles said they wouldn't be playing, or excuse me, wouldn't be visiting the White House, the Republicans lost their minds. I saw so many tweets. I rooted for you. I was there for you. I'll never root for the Eagles again. First of all, there's nobody in Philadelphia who was a Philadelphia Eagles fan that is going to stop supporting the Eagles because of whether or not they go to the White House. It's just a fact. If you're an Eagles fan, that shit is the most loyal, committed team and fan base that you will ever see. So I'm not worried about that. So a lot of people saying they're rooting for the Eagles, they're casuals, they're fly-by-nighters. It doesn't matter. And Philly don't care about outsiders. You should understand that by now. But they were outraged. They were mad. They were hurt. I'm like, why are you hurt? But they were. Anybody who doesn't support Trump, I'm not supporting, was the narrative I saw. Then you got Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly decided that she was going to weigh in on the Philadelphia Eagles decision. And by the way, Megyn did root for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. A lot of people rooted for the Eagles in the Super Bowl, not because they care about Philly, but because, you know, they didn't want a three-peat, you know, blah, 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 blah. There were lots of reasons. But she wrote, wish I had known this before the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, that wasn't her. That was someone else. That was someone named Toxic Cowboy. But Megyn Kelly said that she backed the Eagles because her husband, author Doug Brunt, is, quote, a fan, which is why she, quote, got on board. Then she said, but F this BS. F this BS. Megyn Kelly was not. If you don't support Trump, we don't support you. This is their logic. She wrote, a person named Toxic Cowboy wrote, wish I had known this before the Super Bowl. I wouldn't have wasted my time rooting for them. Eagles fan, your team sucks. Right. Really upset. Megyn Kelly responded to that person, said, same. Then said, go F yourselves, Eagle. So first of all, Megyn Kelly, the award-winning, brilliant journalist, is responding to something that hasn't happened. She's responding to a story that isn't real yet. Now, is it possible the Eagles do make that decision? Maybe. It wouldn't shock me. But they haven't made that decision. And Megyn, this is a time where as journalists, we got to say, hey, we jumped the gun. You're cursing the Eagles out, and it sounds like they hadn't made a decision yet. But here's what's interesting. It seems now that they have made a decision, or the team sources are saying the Eagles will accept an invite. That's what they were told today. Now, here's, again, another level to this. If you remember, the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2018. Yeah, we be winning a lot. In 2018, the Eagles refused to visit Trump after their championship win, and Trump then rescinded the invite, which, by the way, is hilarious. They said, Mr. Trump, we're not coming. He said, well, you're disinvited. What? That's the, like, I'm sorry, I quit. And they go, well, you're fired then. Like, what are you talking about? The Eagles had already said they weren't going, and then Donald Trump took the invite back because he is a petty weirdo loser. But they did it because Donald Trump had attacked players who were kneeling. That was still in the kneeling era. And players were saying, look, we need to do something about police brutality. We're going to take a knee. Donald Trump hated that. He was picking on the players for that. Eagles said, no, thank you. Bold move by the Eagles back then, and it would be a bold move if they did it now. I guarantee you the Kansas City Chiefs would not be doing that. Pat Mahomes' handkerchief head ass would be right up in there, kissing the ring of Donald Trump. So I have no doubt that what the Eagles are doing is different and special. But it's also interesting that the Eagles' locker room has shifted enough that they're saying no, even before the game. Now, after the game, there might be some other pressures. It wouldn't shock me if Jeffrey Lurie is saying, hey, you guys should go. It wouldn't shock me if their agents are saying, hey, you should go. This is an opportunity to get photo ops and to look accessible to all the political sides, or both political sides of American corporate politics, right? Say, look, if the Eagles don't show up, now they're marked as liberals. Whereas if they do show up, it's like no one's going to think anything twice about them. which helps with endorsement deals, branding, selling tickets, all the things. The thing about the NFL is they just want to sell tickets. They don't care about politics in that way. They don't. If they have to, they'll err on the side of being conservative, but they really don't want to take a position. They just want to do what they do. Now, somebody's here, Slap from Theoretically R&B Podcast, and y'all gotta make sure y'all check out Theoretically R&B Podcast. You also had him here last week on the show last Monday. Check it out on YouTube. But it's an interesting argument, right? Jalen ain't go. I'm sure Jalen Hurts doesn't want to go to the White House, but you gotta go with the team. So either they all go or nobody goes. If Jalen gets outvoted, I think Jalen's going to the Super Bowl Slap or to the White House Slap. I'm not saying he's going to want to, but I don't see him like showing up the team by like his center's there and he's not. They're going to push his ass right to that White House. I guarantee you Saquon wants to be there. I've seen enough about Saquon to know his ass want to be there. Somebody said show up in BLM t-shirts. I don't know if BLM church t-shirts is the way to do it, but something should happen. The Eagles should go and stage a protest or stage some act of resistance or some kind of spectacle that says, look, we here, we in it, but we not of it. That would be powerful. But until then, we'll keep following. But Philadelphia Eagles, if you're listening to you, listen to your old head here. Do not go to the White House. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Anyway, family, that's it for tonight, man. I'm gonna take my ass to bed. But I wanted to shout y'all out. Wanted to show some love again to Joy and Reid. Wanted to send some love to the Philadelphia Eagles. But more importantly, again, Joy and Reid is doing something courageous right now, man. The last couple of years, she's been speaking up, standing up and speaking out. She's been courageous and unrelenting in her pursuit of the truth and her telling of the truth. So Joy and Reid, if I've said it to you privately, but I'll say it to you publicly. I appreciate you. I admire you. I love you. If there's any way I can be a resource or a support to you, just let me know. It ain't got to be public. It don't need to be nothing but your brother looking out for you. So shout out to you. Shout out to your family. Love all of y'all. Family, let me know what's really good. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. If you like tonight's episode, hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button. That's how we build up this channel to have independent Black media. Hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the subscribe button. Also, family, if you're so inclined, hit the join button. Become a monthly member to the channel. Hitting that monthly bronze or gold, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, whichever one you pick, it does so much. It does wonders for keeping this channel alive. It goes so far toward keeping us financially solvent and stable so that we don't have to depend on MSNBC and all of these things. I don't take a corporate check. I don't get a salary. I only get paid when you consume this stuff. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but also please hit that join button to become a monthly paid member of the channel. If you don't have the ability or the desire to do that right away, that's okay. I just ask that you make a one-time payment. Go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle and drop something. And it can be $1. It could be $5, $10, $20, $50, all the way up to whatever you want. It could be $1 million. There's somebody out there right now who wants to give $1 million to independent Black media. There's somebody out there who wants to give $100,000 to independent Black media. Drop it in Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle, please. There's somebody out there who wants to drop just $10,000. $10,000. You can slide it right on the Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. We could use it right now, y'all. We could use it to build this channel up. We're February 24th, and we are nowhere near our financial goals for the month. Anything that can be done would be much appreciated. You can give $1, you can give $1 million, you can give anything in between. But right now, for us to meet our financial goals for the month, we would need everybody here to donate $5. If everybody watching right now donated $5, we would exceed our monthly goal for the month, for the month of booking and studio space and production, et cetera, et cetera. So please, family, consider it a fee of $5. I mean, 10 would really do it, but 5 tonight. I'm only asking for 5. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle. And if you can't, that's okay. Money's not the biggest issue here. It's the information. So please continue to read the content, study the content, and share the content, because that is what night school is all about. Peace.